Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show of shows. From the stage that history rebuilt, this is Live at the Mayflower with your host, Wes Martin.
Oh, here we go. Thank you, everyone, for the patience as you wait for the first ever Live at the Mayflower podcast with this amazing panel here. We've got Mayor Oda, we've got Jess Nielsen, we've got Andrew Circle. The theme for this first podcast is this building, okay? Everyone up here has been, had their hand heavily in this building in very different realms and different capacities. So that is why this panel is up here tonight. I'm really excited for this conversation, and that's what it is. That's what I've been telling myself. It's just a conversation, right? It's just four people sitting on a stage.
That is what you promised us.
That is what I promised. Maybe a little song and dance. Maybe, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Andrew looks like he's fired up, ready to.
I'm ready.
He's ready to cause some mischief up here. I love it. Yeah. So I wanted to start with some intros. So I just go down the line, just share a couple things about yourselves. Where you're from originally, how long you've been in the Miami County area. I guess just whatever you think is pertinent and important. It doesn't have to just be about the Mayflower. Mary, you kick us off?
I will kick it off. So I was born and raised in Elkhart, Indiana, South Bend.
Yep.
So I was rooting for Notre Dame last week.
Go Hoosiers.
No, Notre Dame. And so that was a bit disappointing for me, but that's the area I was born and raised in. And my husband and I moved to the Troy area in '96 with 3 little kids.
I was born in 1996.
Were you really?
I was. Yeah, that was a beautiful year.
That's terrible.
It's my favorite year ever, actually. I really cherish that year.
Way to age me. And then I homeschooled our 3 kids till 7th grade. So they all went to Troy Junior High at 7th grade. And after our last one graduated from high school and was headed off to college, got on city council, spent 8 years at large on city council, and I just started my 2nd term as mayor. So been mayor 5 years now.
I love it. You're doing a wonderful job.
I love my job. I really do.
Thank you. All right, Jess, what do you got?
Hi, guys. Jess Nielsen here. I am newly employed by Wes here for Village Vantage as the VP of Design and Experience. I grew up in Auglaize County, about 45 minutes north of here, super small town called New Knoxville. Parents are still there. I think Andrew's the only person in this room that knows that at one point at the Auglaize County Fair, I won a rooster calling contest, which I won't share that with anybody.
We're going to do it. Be careful.
We do need to hear that.
Yeah.
Party tricks, right? But no, my husband and I live here in Troy. This is actually our 2nd time we've lived here. We fell in love with the place back in 2012. Then we moved around a couple times for his job, and then found ourselves back in Troy after we moved here for one of his jobs in Tip City. So built a home here and have always been in love with small communities. Design and architecture is my background, and really love all the beauty and the architecture here in Troy and the surrounding area. But being able to work in design in the town that I live in is really special to me, and I'm sure we'll get to it in talking about the design of this place. It's just a really great honor for me to be able to work on these buildings and see community and family and friends and people in this area enjoy places that I've been able to work on. So
yeah, I love it. All right, Andrew, you're up.
That was good.
That was good.
So
can't wait to see the was it the rooster calling?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to
Can't believe you brought that up.
That was bold.
Yeah. So my name is Andrew Circle, and my architecture firm is Andrew Circle Architect, and we We opened the firm in 2018 in Troy, and have been working here ever since. Originally from West Milton, graduated from Milton Union, 04 grad, and when Wes and I are in the same room. Go Bulldogs. That's right, man. When Wes and I are in the same room, I like to say that we played the same position in high school, both linemen. If you could see the size comparison, it's not really much of a comparison. So Wes, a big boy. So I went to UC 04 to 2010, then worked in downtown Dayton, mostly at higher education projects, and then moved here and have been doing a lot of historic renovations like this building, a lot of trying to do some infill, trying to do mostly commercial stuff. But yeah, this is the type of project I really enjoy. So,
I love it. Proud Bulldog alums.
Yeah, man.
There can't be enough of them. There's one more in the crowd out there tonight. I love it. I guess so. I'll round it out. Wes Martin. I'm from Miami County, West Milton, Ohio. Lived there my whole life until I was 18 years old. From Milton Union, I went off to Indiana University, what did I study? I was a criminal justice major with a minor in outdoor recreation, parks, and human ecology. So I bet no one here knew that. So just dropping surprises already. I wanted to be a game warden when I was growing up, or like a park ranger or something like that. I always thought that would be a really cool job. So that's why I studied that. Actually, I walked in day one, and I was like, I really want to, I enjoy being out in nature and all that stuff. I was like, I might study environmental science. And the football like guidance counselor, whatever position it was, she's like, yeah, that's like the hardest major we offer here at Indiana University. So maybe think about that, sleep on it tonight, and come back and we'll rediscuss. So long story short, I did not end up studying that. But yeah, I played football over there, was there for 5 years, redshirted, yada yada, the whole deal. Ended up being just good enough to get drafted, so I got drafted by the Commanders. Well, we were the Redskins then, just speaking historically accurate, that's what we were called. Fun fact, I have been a Washington Redskin member, a Washington football team member, and a Washington Commander member. And I think there's maybe 10 of us that can claim to have done all three. Maybe 12, but
you got all three of the tattoos on you too, right?
100%, yeah. Right on my chest. If you ever see me at the beach, it's just right across the chest. I just got all three logos right on there. I'm joking. I am 100% joking. But yeah, then we rode that wave for a handful of years. I found our way back in the area. 22. 22. Looked at this building, had no idea what I was doing, but we walked the building. I walked it once, I think, with my brother, and I was like, well, this is a sweet building. Wanted to invest and start looking at things for after football, and I was like, wow, this is cool. Have no idea what to do with it or what it will take to do something cool with it. So then I got in touch with Andrew. We came back, walked it again. And then just kind of snowballed from there. So fast forward, been spending time in that world, the real estate world, kind of just fell in love with these old buildings and the process behind it and all that good stuff. So, and now we're here, sitting on the stage, having the first episode of the Live at the Mayflower podcast.
With the guinea pigs.
With the guinea pig. Yeah, these guys made it very clear they were my guinea pigs. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Maybe a rooster.
Yeah. 2 guinea pigs and a rooster. Yeah, common theme here. I have no idea what I'm doing once again, so I made that clear to these guys, and they are they're in it. I appreciate it. They're doing great, and I can't wait to hear the Rooster impersonation. And it's just going to be a festive evening.
I didn't say that.
So I guess we can just dive right into this building and kind of where it started, how it started. I touched on it a little bit, but yeah, showed up, walked the building a couple times. Me and Andrew got together. We're like, hey, we got to get the city on board with whatever this becomes. Like the city, like we need their support. Like it's a staple in the community. It's going to be a lot. Like this building did not look like this a couple years ago. There was a lot that needed to be done. So anyway, we scheduled a meeting, walk into the city building over there. Yeah, that's where we met for the first time, Mayor.
We met a few years ago. You
Yeah.
had not bought this building yet, but you were looking at it, and you came and sat down with us, said what you wanted to do. You wanted to know what was possible, what are the procedures, how do we do this, that, and we got you going and said, come back. If you have questions, come back, talk to us. Were you in on that meeting, Andrew?
I think so.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, you didn't have a whole lot of details at that point, but we could tell that you had a passion for this building. You wanted to do something in Troy, and we were ready to help you do that. Not sure what it looked like, but here you are.
I want to say, I think we were talking about like some golf simulators at one point. We were just all over the place.
Yeah, it's like a sports bar kind of, sports theme kind of concept.
Which I guess made sense from the background and the, from my, the bars that I've been in. Can't say I've been in too many bars that replicate this. So, but she's pretty.
And,
she's awful pretty.
None of us grew up here in Troy. So none of us have the history with this building that a lot of the city residents do, who grew up going to the movies here, who knew Al Teicher. I knew Al Teicher before he sold the theater and moved to Florida. But one of my favorite things here is the wall of plates with residents' memories, people's memories of this building and what it was and what it meant to them when they were growing up. Very, very cool. And I just think about the people who grew up with this, who walk into it and just can't believe what they're seeing.
Yeah, for sure. I did see a movie here when I was a wee lad. I was pretty young. And I'll be completely honest with you, really the only thing I remember is the daunting men's restroom, which was terrifying. And I couldn't tell you what movie I watched that day. Couldn't tell you any other details, but I remember going down those steps, and I think the handrail, the whole deal. You turn the corner down there, and bam, there's actually a restroom down there. But I'll never forget that.
Throughout the whole social media process of sharing the story of the construction and the demolition and the rebuild here, the question about the men's restroom was the most common question we got. Is it still there? I remember it, haunting stories of that. And believe it or not, and Andrew knows well, it is still down there. We kept it for code purposes, and it's a functioning restroom. So.
Did you fix it up, or is it kind of just left as it was?
The stairway is very similar, but the restroom is now up to date. So yeah.
That's almost disappointing.
Yeah. There would have had to have been some flexibility, I think, in some code realms for us to leave
You would
it
have
as
needed a real restroom
correct
to replace that one.
Correct, 100%. But I like where your head's at, Mayor. I like where your head's at. Yeah. We talked about it earlier when we were sitting here, but that first meeting, I'll never forget. It's like the one thing that sticks out to me is Joey Graves asked me, what's your background? And I always freeze when people ask me that because my background's, it's just an awkward answer just because it's kind of abnormal. And I told him entertainment, and it's just a really broad, I just threw it out there, and the room just kind of looked at me, and no one knew what to say. I think a couple people started to chuckle and kind of break the ice. And I don't know, I always remember that. And then right when I said that, I imagine everyone's like who is this guy? Why did he call us here today for this meeting? Like, this is never going to happen. This guy is some ragged out weirdo from the street who just walked a movie theater. But, yeah, here we are. Yeah.
You never know when somebody comes and says they're looking at a building and we're not sure what we want to do. We don't have any say in who buys a building, so there's always this fear. What are they going to do with it? Is it going to be successful? We want it to be successful for the entire city. We want it to be successful for the person that buys it. And but we don't get a lot of people who come in to talk to us first. A lot of times they've already bought the building and then start working through the processes. But you came and talked to us first before you bought it, kind of to figure out what the city processes were. So,
Yeah, well,
it's good.
I appreciate that. I felt like I knew it was going to be a big undertaking. Just off of some of our initial conversations, I knew it was going to be a lot. So I knew I was going to definitely need local support. Like, if the city wasn't behind it, like, it was probably never going to happen. I feel like that's the reality with some of these old buildings and some of these, like, sizable projects. Like, you've got to have support in the right areas, because there is a lot. And there's so much that you don't even think about until you really start digging into these things, and
sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
right.
So I thought you started out well before you even bought the building, just asking questions.
For sure. Yeah, had no idea what I was doing, but if you ask enough questions, you start piecing it together a little bit. But yeah, and so then.
And well, you were going to put garage doors
Oh yeah,
on the side.
Yeah,
And,
I remember those original sketches.
Yeah, that created a bit of a stir because of the mural, the Acaparema
Yeah.
mural. But the family, you talked with the family, and they were okay with that. But the Miami County Health Department was not. And that's just their thing. So the garage doors didn't happen.
Yeah, now I sit here and I try to envision a garage door right there, and it'd be tough. I don't see it anymore.
Would have killed it.
Yeah.
It's just a different concept, right? Like, if you're doing golf simulation and it's a sports bar and you're opening it up to the plaza, obviously not on a day like today, but in summer, I can still see it, just not with this concept of the cocktail lounge with the stage and music venue. So.
Right, for sure. Yeah, a couple of the key things that I also remember from that meeting, it was the garage doors were a hot topic because it's around the mural. The mural itself was a hot topic. Sign lighting was a huge topic.
Ah, the sign code.
Yeah, that one was, I think that might have been one of the first things that got put out there. Like, hey, what kind of sign are you thinking about?
Neon.
Yeah.
Flashing
neon. And then the public restrooms, that came up too. And
Yes, we
Yeah.
talked about that right away.
Yeah,
That
we
was
did.
something that was part of the discussion. And I'll tell you, we love it. And what we're hearing from residents is that it's a very good thing.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And I think it's cool that something, from that initial conversation, and came all the way around, because it is kind of an awkward thing a little bit, right? Like, especially for someone like me, I had no idea what was going on. Everything was just swirling around my head, and it's like, well, what about throwing some random public restrooms in the side of the building? And I was like, oh, I don't know. That sounds a little out there, but I mean,
I felt kind of bad for you because it was, we did throw it out there early. You weren't really sure what you were doing with the building yet. But the way it has turned out has just been really, really nice, and nice for the community.
Yeah, no, I think the layout of it ended up pulling together nicely. Just the way, I think the ramp and the accessibility, and then also how it, square footage inside, we were able to kind of put it in a great spot that doesn't, when you're in that, going down that entry hallway, you don't really feel like, some of that square footage is getting I don't want to say lost, but it is. I mean, some of that square footage is to exterior restrooms. I don't feel that when I'm
But
walking.
you don't feel that when you walk in.
Right. No, I think it worked out well. And I love to hear that people walking downtown are happy about it.
Thank you for working with us on doing that. That's a great partnership.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed that partnership through and through. It's been great for both of us. Absolutely. So so the next phase, we just rolled right into construction. Eventually, now there's a lot of things, through that twists and turns and all that good stuff. And in that first meeting, the thought was I was going to own or operate. Which was also, just looking back, was even crazier to think, but it is what it is. Similar to a live podcast on a stage in front of people, I just tend to kind of go an abstract route with things, but here we are.
But now you know so much more. But you look back at where you started, and you can't imagine. You're probably very glad it took all the turns that it did.
Yeah, I would say so. There's a couple in there that I could have learned a different way, but that's everybody's life. That's how life goes. Yeah, that's just how life goes. But no, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it takes a lot of screw ups to figure out how to do something the right way.
But now you're ready to be the owner operator.
Right. Yeah. Now I feel good about it. I haven't lost a night of sleep over it. Luckily, we were able to keep an amazing staff around that know this building better as well as anybody, and they do a fantastic job. And I think they're excited for the things to come and all that good stuff.
Who had the vision for all of this first, Andrew or Jess?
I would say Wes. I remember the first meeting with both of you, and I kind of remember you had talked about all of your travels with your profession and living in different cities and what you kind of wanted to bring home. And you kind of talked about this speakeasy environment, this moody, dark kind of concept. And so I really ran with that and latched onto it, because what a dream to be able to design a space like this that is so different from anything in the area. You really have to come to a larger city to really experience something like this. And so to be able to really honor the history of the building, which it's a 1928 vaudeville stage that we're sitting on, which was meant for live performance. So quite honestly, we're doing right now what it was meant to be doing. But the 1920s, it was, the Roaring 20s, the speakeasy, the Great Gatsby vibe that everybody kind of talks about now and happens to be sort of a trend. That is the history and the era that this building was meant for. And so I really leaned into those. The palette that I always go back to, it was a palette from 1928, and it was meant for flapper dancers, and it was a suggested palette of what they were supposed to wear, all the way down to the blush color that they put on their face, the blues, the greens, the golds that you see throughout the space. That's all really harkens back to that color palette that I found. And you always want to have a really great concept to inform the design decisions that you make, especially for a building like this. And so I leaned into that to really keep myself focused on what the goal was. But what was really fun was C.F. Feister, who built the building in 28. There's a plaque on the wall at the front of the building that you can go see, but it says that this building in 1928 was dedicated to the people of Troy and Miami County for unusual musical performances and presentations.
And podcasts.
And podcasts, yeah. So.
I swear it's on the plaque, guys. I swear it's. Yeah. I'm just gonna go out there with a Sharpie and just kind of scribble that at the bottom.
Yeah, but it's been a really fun project, and coming alongside great partners and really working to turn. I look out from the stage here, and I can't help but think about probably one of the bigger construction hurdles was taking this place from being on a complete slope to leveling it out to have these large steps, if you will, and using that when we talk about the public restrooms at the front, leveling those floors out. We added an ADA ramp on the outside of the building to make it more accessible. There were just so many, and Andrew can speak to this better than I can, there were so many hurdles with the first floor slope to get this thing to pull off.
Did you just have to dig it out?
It's more additive, so we put concrete on top. We were lucky because the slope ended up being a 1 in 20 slope, which is kind of a code allowed slope. So if it wasn't, we would have had a whole other host of issues. But really tiering out the performance space that we're in now, and then also flattening out the cocktail lounge were the two big ones. I think the restrooms are smaller steps that we kind of worked out. But yeah, I mean, that's part of getting into the building and doing the research and figuring out what we can and can't accomplish in something like this. That's something we really enjoy doing, our archaeology of learning about this building and then trying to accommodate, contemporary codes and contemporary uses like this.
I remember asking him, we were in the thick of it just the absolute chaos around here. And I remember asking him one day, I was like, how does this place rank as far as like the most challenging projects you've ever done?
What did I say?
And I can't remember what was, like, how does it rank? Because it was a lot.
I think I probably just made a face
Yeah,
when you asked me.
This is a podcast. They can't see your face.
That's right. Okay, so I would say it's really one of the more challenging ones. Top 3 for sure. The elevation changes like we talked about, the desire to open up a lot of this. Like if you look up, you see the beams, you see the wood planking, you see a lot of things we were trying to hide or to simplify to the point where it wouldn't take away from the historic nature of what we're looking at. Some of this stuff was never meant to be exposed either, like the brickwork in the cocktail lounge, or even the ceiling. Like this had a plaster ceiling. So these are things that we just kind of took the lead from, or took Jess's lead in what the space wanted to feel like, and then try to accommodate as best we could with the systems and the structural stuff we were doing to try to make it work, for what you guys were trying to accomplish. This is a complex project. Yeah. The elevator shaft alone was enough time. I mean, it's a whole separate project.
That project is still alive and well, and it's breathing.
I was going to say, is the elevator in?
The shaft's in.
Yeah.
Well, I know that's been there.
The core element.
There's no car in sight.
If you could probably scale it if you wanted to, you could
Use it for rope climbing, rappelling,
Ooh, that's an idea.
rock wall.
It's a solid idea.
When will the elevator be here?
Soon. Yeah, there were
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah.
Don't take no. That was inside joke.
Yeah, I wish 2 weeks. But no, we do. There were a couple hang-ups, and those hang-ups have been addressed, and they're on their way. And
There will be an elevator.
There will be an elevator.
Yeah, one cool thing when we talk about the research it takes to understand a building like this well enough to know what to do with it. So we realized there was a light well that was original to the building, and we were able to find an elevator that worked in that size of light well. So that created the shaft location, and then we just went from there down, past this floor and into the basement with our pit. But that really wasn't feasible unless we figured out what it was built for originally, how it was built, and it just happened to be in a space we could use to get access to the roof. So we got to be really opportunistic about things when we're in a building like this and try to take advantage of what's here and not try to kill the budget. So yeah. I would say the B word, but
Did you kill the budget?
did I personally? I don't know.
We don't need to talk budget.
We had a scheme for a stair originally up to the roof, and it would extend down to 2 and then extend down to 1, and that was kind of the fire egress monumental stair that we could use. And then the decision was made, because the kitchen got located upstairs, we needed the elevator. That was really driving it. And then the accessibility part too, of getting everyone up to the roof and experiencing that. So I think ultimately it was a good choice, but you know, the elevator's more expensive than stairs. And it's an egress elevator, so we have a generator, and it's got a whole other set of requirements. So, yeah.
With any construction project, there's a challenge after challenge, things you just didn't know that you were going to run into.
Yeah, that's why things don't get done sometimes. I mean, projects die on the vine a lot. This one didn't. I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah, just kind of kept plugging along. There were a lot of instances where, you know, it was tough sledding through it. Yeah.
What was the most interesting thing that you found that you weren't expecting?
That's a good question. I can remember back when we were digging out unspeakable things from underneath the stage. That was one day. We looked like chimney sweepers by the time we got out from up under it. But probably the most interesting thing I found was the day that we were removing the concession stand equipment from where the old concession stand was up by the entrance. I pulled out the cabinet from underneath the popcorn machine, and the original set of 1928 blueprints were underneath there, covered in all kinds of popcorn oil, and they were tattered away, and I handed them to Andrew, and I think you eventually used some of those sheets to inform what was underneath a lot of these renovations.
Definitely. That was a series of drawings by an architecture firm named Skank & Williams, who were one of the preeminent architecture firms in the Southwest Ohio in the 20s, like we talked about earlier. And the set of drawings is great. I wish we had a complete set that was clean, but they're just old blueprints. Just the feel of them, the look of the drawings and stuff just gets you excited about what was built and what we could do. And yeah, that was a cool find.
Very cool.
We still have them too, and we need to do something with them because they're just sitting in my office.
Oh,
so
it's got a big gold fancy frame written all over it. Just throw it somewhere. There's plenty of wall space around here. We can find somewhere cool to hang it.
Well, we need to archive the rest of them probably too.
Yeah,
like it's something we haven't talked about, but the historic Troy, Miami County.
The Historical
Library,
Society,
I've talked to them a little bit about it, so, and they're great drawings.
Yeah, I love it. While we're on the topic, I just wanted to say, like, so many people had their hand in this project. So if you're out there, you happen to listen, thank you for your involvement. There were, I mean, so many people had their hands on this, and there were so many phases that were really challenging and took a lot of ingenuity and, you know, long days and nights to push through. And, you know, the reality that, you know, a lot of twists and turns have happened with this whole project, but I want to put that out there, that everybody that's had their hand on it, like, I appreciate the efforts and the hours and all that went into it. So, because it was a lot. It was a whole lot.
Are there any original things that are still here? Like the lights, were those here, or are those?
The lights in here are new. However, the lights in the cocktail lounge, there's a neat story there. Those were originally throughout this entire space. So this second floor here, this section of it is not original. So this was new steel, new concrete poured. But the most original part of the second floor is where the film room used to be, which overlooks the cocktail lounge, so the mezzanine over there. But the lights that are over in there, they were, like I said, original to the building, but up until this renovation, they were hanging in the 405 ballroom, in the community ballroom across the street. And the building owners over there, they randomly called me, or I think they maybe called Andrew Casey Electric and said, or maybe it was you, I don't know who they got a hold of, but they said, we've got these chandeliers and they belong to the Mayflower, do you want them back? And I was sort of shocked because you only see them in
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're only seen in some of the original photography from what I probably would say the 30s or 40s. And so they said, we'll give them to you for $50 a piece. And I said, absolutely. They're about 75 pounds a piece. And so they got rewired, and they're now 4 of them are now hanging in the cocktail lounge now. But
Also, those the windows up in the mezzanine, those got pulled out of the basement.
yes.
Those were originally in the back wall, I believe, to the first theater, maybe, or
I'm not sure if we ever found out where those belonged, but those, I think they were either in the basement below the stage here or over underneath the cocktail lounge, but those are some heavy windows up there. But I did want to repurpose them, really kind of create this zone up here in the mezzanine where people could obviously see the stage, but you could also kind of peek over and look into the cocktail lounge and just be able to see what was going on from area to area. That's super important to me.
yeah.
So,
I wanted to circle back on something because Jess gave me way too much credit earlier for the first time we sat down, and she said Wes had the vision here. There were quite a few meetings. Me and Andrew had a handful of conversations and meetings. And then one also meeting that we went down to Dayton and had with the guys at Swainu and Tender Mercy.
Idea collected.
Yeah, yep. Man, I pulled a lot out of that meeting. Just there were different elements that had, some of the things just hadn't really hit my brain yet, and some of those conversations that we had, my creative brain started to piece together. So fast forward, had the first meeting with Jess and that whole team, and at that point, I didn't sound like such a rookie. You know, I had gathered a little more of a vocabulary around this stuff. So that is the reason Jess was able to say that I had the first shot at the design around here. Just want to put that out there.
As the designer, did you just come up with this? Could you just see this right off the bat? Or had demos started and you started seeing it come together as you were doing the demo?
Demo had not started yet. I know we walked the building, I think we walked with you and our team at the time before a single wall had been hit, and it was still separated out into multiple theaters. You could pretty much walk along this east wall to get to the theaters. There was still the retail space up there, was an art studio. Concession stands were all still there. But no, this is what I do, and this is how I rethink things, and my love language is sort of history, and I dig into the history before I even attempt to envision what it could be. And so I did work a lot with Patrick over at the local history library, and believe it or not, there's not a ton of history on the Mayflower building. There's some old newspaper articles and things that I really dug into, but once I kind of understood Wes's vision and what we kind of wanted it to be in terms of the use of spirits and restaurant and entertainment, you kind of start to put all those pieces together and really think about what that looks like in form, and you just start to sketch and model things and say, what can we do here? And you work together with people that, with Andrew, an architect. It's a team effort. It's a collective for sure to
The dreamer,
get into the thick of this. Yeah.
the designer,
Yeah.
the architect.
Right.
Did he ever squash
mayor.
any of your dreams?
I don't know if you squashed any of my
No,
dreams.
of course not.
At one point, I wanted to put a 1950s milk truck on the roof.
Oh yeah, squash that.
Okay, Patrick would have squashed that.
I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had like a taco truck on the rooftop? And he's like, we didn't plan for that kind of weight limit, Jess.
Yeah, I did squash that one. I forgot about that. There's a lot of dead ends. You go down, you think there's a way to do it, or you think it's going to be good, and then you realize like it's not totally fitting with the concept that we're going for, or it isn't really feasible without a ton of money being thrown at it. So yeah, we're used to going down a bunch of design dead ends and then coming back to where we're at now. Yeah.
I think we could maybe get a milk truck down here on the front row.
Okay.
If we we just widen these doors a little bit and just throw a temporary ramp up, we could roll one in, roll one out. I think it could
I'm
be,
done squashing the milk truck thing. You go for it, man.
Yeah, I think it'll work. I think there's a chance. Andrew told me once when this all started, he said, you know what, if there's a problem, you just throw more steel at it, and the problem can go away.
I believe in that still.
Yeah, see? We throw more steel at it, just reinforce it.
Well, let's talk about that for a sec, because one of the design decisions early on was to split this larger original theater space into 2 spaces.
Yep.
And that was a big move because once it was demoed, everyone could see the original volume of the space, and it was impressive, like all the way back to the original projection room. And I thought, I don't know if this is the right way to go or not, but it did fit with the concept of what we wanted to do. So we did throw steel at it in the mezzanine and tied a bunch of 2 beams across to the steel columns in the wall. It's actually a steel building with brick infill walls, so it's kind of atypical for that era of construction. But we did throw steel at it. We split the space in 2, and I think it was the right move in hindsight. But it's some of those things you don't know when you're drawing it up. It's like it works operationally, but I just want it to feel grand. And by cutting it in 2, I was worried we weren't exactly doing that.
Yeah.
So that's something where you just have multiple people's opinions and you kind of come to some
I remember
way forward.
Sorry to cut you off. I remember some real original conversations. We were talking about like a temporary wall. And now I sit here and I'm like, you try to picture one of those, those like bifold.
Oh my
An
God.
accordion wall.
Folded.
There's no way, man.
Yeah.
It's not going to look good at all.
I remember that conversation though.
Yeah.
We could have done it. We definitely could have. Wouldn't have been nearly as
We
But
good.
it wouldn't
could,
be
but we
grand.
shouldn't.
That's
It
right.
wouldn't be grand.
That's right.
And I love that you can see through. The see-through windows are awesome.
Yeah. All right, this is a good little pause to go to a guest interaction segment. Does anyone in the crowd have a question that they would like to throw out up here? Come on, I see some familiar faces out there.
You need to go walk the crowd. Go walk
Ooh,
the
go!
floor.
I got a cord. I'm not.
I'm
cordless
corded
like you
too. I
guys.
can't get up.
Yeah, that's my excuse. What we got? Ooh,
I think everybody
big
agrees
talkers
it's a
out here.
beautiful setting.
Mel, you were a judge. You're used to public speaking. What do you got for us?
My primary question is, when are we going to have the liquor license?
Ooh, good question.
Great question.
I love it. Yeah, that's a good question. I wish I had a cleaner answer for you.
The question is, when is the liquor license coming?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. And if it's not here in 2 weeks, it'll be 2 weeks from then.
Exactly.
Yeah, we will. In partnership with Troy Main Street, we will have a an F permit license, and the one day will be a private, strictly private event. But next Friday, the 31st, will be open to the public, and we'll have that F permit. So, hope to pack the house. And what was that?
31st.
Oh yeah, and it's the 97th birthday of the Mayflower.
Yes, the day.
Yeah.
January 31st.
And we're going to be at 100 before long.
Yes.
And Jess has a great idea for the christening of the building on the 100th birthday. And I think the mayor signed off on it earlier in discussion. We're gonna fly a helicopter in with a giant bottle of wine or champagne rather, and we're gonna drop it from the helicopter, and it's gonna come crashing down somewhere. We hope it doesn't damage the building, but we're gonna roll with it.
Okay.
Is
It
that-
could be a Waco plane too. We can really get into Troy history.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a
Oh, my.
great idea.
Oh my.
That's a great idea. Thank you for the crowd interaction. I greatly appreciate it. The rest of you, if you guys ever come to one of these again, you got to come prepared with something to throw out there. But I'm glad to see you're enjoying your meals. Everybody's currently chewing food, so I'll take that excuse, and we'll continue on. Yeah. So just to keep on the process, so we're in the heart of construction, designs coming together. I guess, yeah, are there any other like really pivotal moments or like big items that come to mind for you guys throughout this? Like once we were like truly in the heart of it?
We haven't really talked about the rooftop much,
Ooh,
but
good point.
the decision.
Yeah, there has been a lot around that
Yeah,
rooftop.
I mean, I think, but the decision to do the rooftop
Yeah.
and make it occupiable for the public, to put a bar up there, and that's why you see the stair on the side of the building. That's our second means of egress.
That was huge to get through too.
Yeah.
That was not an easy process.
No, it was good. I mean, it was more difficult to figure it out structurally than to get it approved by the city. So to make it work in reality is sometimes more difficult. But I think just the decision alone to see the vision of like, okay, we can see out across the plaza, we can see the whole square, there's not another rooftop space. I think your experiences in Nashville that Jess mentioned earlier, something that played into that as far as a driving force to it. So we just had to figure out how to do it. But the idea was good.
Oh, so many meetings up there where there's like 8 people just standing around the elevator shaft, and we're just trying to figure out, all right, how do we tie in this tile decking system to the threshold of the elevator to then onto the the cab of the elevator. And those were some conversations. Those were fun. There was a lot to that, and it's crazy. Like when you sit and think about it, you're like, oh, we'll just just bring the threshold up or just bring the floor, and it's like, no, it was not that simple. There was a lot of moving parts up there. It was interesting for sure. Anything else?
I think the other one was probably the location of the kitchen and what we were doing in the kitchen and what we were trying to accomplish functionally with it. We initially talked about it in the basement.
Right.
Which would have been rough on the kitchen staff.
Yeah.
And also to get the utilities in and out, the hood, exhaust, and the makeup air would have been really difficult in the basement. So we eventually settled on the second floor, right behind the cocktail lounge towards the front of the building. And I think, I haven't really done a post occupancy walk there, but the food's good, so coming out of it, so I think we did okay.
Yeah, food is very good. Delicious.
Yeah, we did talk about it in the basement just to save space, but you start to think about and talk about the culture that you want your staff to experience while they're on the job here, and the idea of having them come to the basement to work where there's no natural light and the ceilings were really low, it was just something that we decided against. And so a lot of people don't even know that the kitchen is upstairs. But it's a fully functioning commercial kitchen with a staff break room, staff restroom. It works. It's tight for the amount of people that we serve in here. It is a small kitchen, and they crank out a lot of food considering the size of it, but it also has a full walk-in cooler and freezer. And so if you are out there and you like to do lots of steps, if you count your steps and you want to be a food runner or a server, come talk to me. Our staff gets tens of thousands of steps in a night here. So yeah, they have a lot of fun though.
And it's kind of cool to note that front area on the second floor was originally built as a dining room, and it had a kitchen. Mm-hmm. So it's on the other side of the building now, but we're doing some of the same things the building was originally built for. Yeah. And I just think that's kind of a cool thing.
It is really cool because through the process, well, really, for a long time, the phases of the process we were in construction and everything, really the only questionable community remarks we were getting were people saying, "Oh, you can't. It's got to be a movie theater still. That's what it needs to be. I can't believe you're going to change it from anything but a movie theater."
Change is hard.
Oh yeah. Well, people. Yeah, people are just crazy, and myself included. People are just wild. I'm crazy with them. But I just remember, and it would always come back around, and it'd be like, oh, well, if you guys really look at it deeply, we're skipping, I don't know, 80 years there or whatever it is, 60 years. We're skipping that whole segment and going back to what it originally was.
Right.
Yeah, well, we went way back. Yeah, we dug deep in the history books. But I always thought that was interesting. I don't know. I thoroughly enjoy a good social media negative comment. It goes back to my playing days. My brother's sitting out here. He would actually send them to me. If I had a bad game and I got on Twitter, oh my gosh, you talk about crazy people on social media. These people would absolutely obliterate me. I'm talking, it was ruthless. So now I'm at the point, like, I've gotten the worst. Like,
Right.
at this point, like, no one out there on social media can throw something my way that is gonna shock me. So now-
Calloused.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Jaded.
Calloused. Yeah. 100%.
Oh, hopefully not jaded.
So now
Tough.
it's great. You know, people. Because I mean, they still roll in, right? Like, because now that I'm on the other side of it and looking on the operational side, and people are like, oh, the food's too expensive, or oh, you know, your liquor license isn't in yet. All these, all these comments. I just love it. I eat it up. I think it's kind of fun.
But the liquor license is a process.
Oh yeah, it
They
sure
don't
is.
just hand those out. You can't. It's and like you're finding
should.
out, it can it can take weeks or months.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's well, what I think the overarching thing I've learned from all this is nothing's fast or easy, but especially fast. Even some things that like really aren't that big of a deal or aren't that hard, they still just move really slow. Everything just ends up taking a lot more time than you expect it to. Everything just gets drawn out and extended, you know.
Yeah, I heard something today actually that said, if you're contemplating doing a project, would you still do it if it took twice as long and was half as enjoyable as you thought it would take at the beginning of the process? So just picture it in your mind, like you're starting a project. If it takes twice as long and you enjoy it half as much, would you still do a project like the Mayflower?
It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, yeah. As
And
I sit here right now, yeah.
Yeah, in hindsight, sure. But I mean, I think it's a good question when we're contemplating projects moving forward. It's like, is that if everything goes wrong, but you end up with a result at the end that you like, is it worth the struggle to get through it?
Yeah.
How long did it take?
Twice as long.
2 weeks.
How long was
And
twice
it was
as long?
half as enjoyable.
I
Took
want to
about
say it was
2
about
weeks.
a year and 4 months. Does that sound about right? We got the retail shop open in time for Strawberry Festival. And then the following May or April, I guess, we had our first event with the Troy Foundation here.
Yeah.
Was there any point where you stood in all the demo, or at any point along the process, and just, what are we doing?
But only every day. Yeah. There was like 1 or 2 days sprinkled in there when there was complete clarity, for sure.
Yeah.
No. I will say it was way less stressful while I was still on the road for these things. You know, when I wasn't playing ball and I was back here all the time and I was just rolling through a lot more regularly, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exhausting. This was way better when I got like 3 pictures a week of positive things happening on the job site. Now I can just roll in anytime and see the mayhem. But good times.
And when was the point where you looked around you and were like, this is going to be cool?
I'll never forget it. The Troy Foundation guests were walking in the front door, and some of our staff at the time, they were rolling paint on the ceiling on their way out. And just, the people that were walking in, I don't even think they noticed the people that were painting the ceiling, because the last time those people were in here, it looked completely different. Their shoes stuck to the floor, the seats were creaky. It was just an old movie theater, and they were just in shock of what it had turned into. So that was a pretty rewarding night, was to sit back and say, okay, these are Troy people, these are extremely philanthropic Troy people, and they're here and they're supporting, and you just hope and pray that they come back and support it for a long time.
I love it. Mayor, what was the city's perspective as all this is unfolding? But I guess also my broader question is, like, what is your guys' perspective on all these projects? I mean, this isn't the first project you guys have witnessed, a full gut redo. Yeah, so like from your guys', you guys are sitting back, you guys get plugged in here and there if somebody has to come to you and get approval from the committee and whatnot. But like, what is that like from your guys' front?
Sometimes I hate the process that everybody has to go through. wish we could make it easy for everybody. And yet, if you don't have guidelines and regulations, you end up with crazy town. I don't know.
People are crazy.
But just watching this complete transformation was really exciting and fun when you asked for something to be able to sign off on it and say, yeah, go for it. You hate to tell somebody no for some of the things. And that happens. Codes can be hard.
Yeah.
We joke about the sign code, but it can be a pain in the neck.
I could just picture it now, just a giant flashing neon sign out there on this bad boy.
And that's what we initially had thought about with the Mayflower sign, was putting it back as neon as it was originally built. We found that great photo and tried to duplicate the sign, and now it's like a backlit channel letter sign. But initially, yeah, we wanted that neon look. Would have been, still would be cool.
It would be, well, we got, I mean, you think about this whole...
It's a beautiful sign.
Well, thank you. This whole edge of the building, is still seen from the square, so there's just so much potential for more neon signage. I mean, come on. Can you imagine how many letters we could span out across the edge of this building? Wow. Think about that.
Bring it. Let's just bring it and see what happens.
It's getting squashed, probably.
Yeah, you'll have that. You'll have that with them big jobs. But I want to let's fast forward. Jesse just hit on, so the first event in here was the Troy Foundation, right?
Yeah.
The fast forward, the ribbon cutting out front, people rolling in, and then 9 months of being open under the distillery. Just touch on that a little. What was it like? What was the reception from the community of people rolling in here? Because I know it's come up a lot where I hear all the time from the staff. They're like, yeah, we have so many people that show up and just want to take a tour.
Yeah.
They just want to see the building. So,
Yeah.
what was that like, and what were some of the reactions that you got?
Yeah, I think a lot of people were just really interested to see how it had changed over the years. Like I said, so many people hadn't been back for decades, probably. The people that are most interested in seeing it are the people that come back to Troy and don't live here anymore. They remember it from 20, 30 years ago, and they know that it changed. They maybe follow us on social media, and they just want to pop in and see it. And yeah, if you're just hanging out here on a random Tuesday at noon, you'll get people that'll knock on the door and try to come in, and they want to see it, and they want to give us a tour and all the things. And I'm happy to do that. I love to show people around, and I love to hear their stories about what their first date here, their first kiss was here. There's so many great stories. We've had our first wedding here already. But yeah, the overall reception was good. I think people were just a little in shock at what it had turned into, because a lot of the people that come back, the last thing they remember of this theater was there was just a big white screen across here. That this was never really uncovered for them. And so the change has been good. I think we've learned a lot over the process of service, full restaurant service, full bar service. Originally was very, we had a dress code. There was a pretty heavy dress code in terms of...
No hats.
No hats, yes, there was no hats allowed. And so we really went for it and really
I would not have
dug
been
our
allowed.
heels in on that. But we talked about the Facebook feedback and the comments, and people, I think the people that are mostly on Facebook and talk a lot, I think they're all about the negativity, and they're the ones that are most vocal about it. You don't hear so much from the people that love their experience, and we love those reviews. So if you have a great experience, let us know about it. But yeah, we really had to, and from the beginning, we recognized that we were about to do something that was very different for the area. And a lot of times that works out because it is different and people will come for something that's different. But I think some of the most interesting stats that I've seen, even in the last three weeks or so since we started to post more ticketed events, I would say 90 to 95% of the people who come here and purchase tickets for events here are not from Troy.
Yeah.
It's wild. Last week we had ticket orders from Detroit, Dayton, Cincinnati, Fort Wayne, Columbus. It is wild where these ticket sales kind of come from. And so I try to keep that in mind. Even if you build a restaurant in Miami County, you can't or anywhere, you can't just rely on the locals to be the ones to support it. They won't, number one. And if you design something that's unique enough, you will draw people from all over the place to support it. So there's a fine line there, it's a balance. And we've also tried to recognize that we still are in Miami County, and we do need to provide things that are comfortable and approachable for those people. So we don't want to reveal too much, but we've got some fun ideas up our sleeve for when we do have the full liquor license, and we'll roll into those kind of secret menu item pieces in a little while. So.
Oh, yeah.
What about movies? Are you looking to do screenings of anything, or?
We are in contact with Dayton Dinner Theater right now. We do some fun interactive dinner theater nights. We have some planned. We have Grease coming up, and also The Princess Bride for Valentine's week, so those have sold well. People are interested in hosting movies up here. So we do want to get back to that. There is a screen overhead. It's not massive. It's not what it was, but it does the job, and the sound system's good. So we're excited about that too.
Yeah, funny story. It would have been the week before we soft opened, 2 weeks ago, talking about people just stopping in because they want to see the place. I was in the little side retail, the Proco side, Provisions Co. Side there, and I think I was in like my barn boots and like sweats and whatever. And two ladies pop in. We actually made the mistake of leaving the front door unlocked. I did. Two ladies pop their head in there. They're just chatting it up. Next thing you know, they poke their head into the retail side, and they see me in there. And they're probably just like, oh, who is this just podunk fool in here just doing God knows what. And then it started. Oh, and it was... they were awesome, but they were a riot. Next thing you know, take them up the hall. Well, also, water's just pouring out of one of the speakers, so that was a cool element of this story. But luckily, Jess is up by the bar. I walk up there. She sees me in a full panic mode because I don't know how to entertain these ladies and properly show them the Mayflower. Luckily, Jess swoops in, takes them on the tour. I escape. I don't show face again. I get out of there, and next thing you know, I think they had a great time, and hopefully they'll be back.
Yeah, they're gonna be super fans for life. Gave them the full tour. They had just been through a major life milestone, and they talked through it with me, and it was great. They hadn't been back for probably 20 years or so, but they were great. And the one gal just texted me the other day, so she was asking about hours, and I got her a reservation, and so yeah, love those connections.
I love it. Yeah, so I guess looking forward to this, we've been softly open for a week now. It would have been last Wednesday was our first night softly open. Yeah, unfortunately we don't have the liquor license yet, so we're rolling with the punches there. A big part of the reason we wanted to go ahead and open up was there were events on the schedule, and we wanted to honor those events. We didn't want to shut those events down and have people, that had purchased tickets kind of be let down. So we decided to softly open and rely on our phenomenal food, quite honestly. There's also some sweet mocktails. So if you're listening and you want to stop in, they are really good. The bar staff's doing a killer job. I see Jo Ellen's down there shaking her head in approval. She's an avid mocktail lover. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a whirlwind. I think we're all really excited for once that license comes in. Obviously, but then it's not all about the liquor license, but there is a lot of cool stuff in the works. The secret menu that Jess hinted at, I think that'll open up some things, for some guest experience stuff, and we've got some other stuff up our sleeves that we plan on rolling out.
Winter's a hard time to make this kind of a change, to change hands and change the feel of it. And I think once the spring hits and people are out and about, you're going to see a big change in the number of people stopping in and saying, wow, didn't even realize this was here, and we got to go back. Yeah,
for sure. I'm going to skip the hats off segment tonight because we brainstormed shortly. Actually, Mayor, do you want to throw out your hats off of the week or of the segment?
The police officer.
Yeah, the police officer.
All right, I'll throw it out.
Yeah, give him a. 'em a
We
shout.
have 2 female police officers. One of them this week was just driving through one of our neighborhoods and saw somebody trying to put away Christmas decorations. She stopped and helped, and they were just really overwhelmed by the help and that a police officer would stop to help do that. So
I love it.
shouts out to Morgan Kimmel for pulling over and helping a resident.
Well done. Well
Hats
done.
off to her.
Hats off to her. There we go. In wrapping up here, I wanted to put it out there. I guess Jess is pretty in tune with all that's going on here, but you two, is there anything on the horizon that you guys would like to talk about, or anything that you'd like to highlight or shout out that you've got going on out there in the world? You don't have to reveal all the cards if you got something big secret up your sleeve. But if there's anything out there that you want to pub a little bit, go for it.
He looks like he has
I
something.
know he looks like he's in deep thought.
Like
do.
He's
I
ready to
just
spill.
well, okay. One cool thing about being in a city like Troy is when something like this happens, and we do have a lot of people come in from out of town, there's a lot of synergy with other businesses, and that's something we all rely on. Like, we need people to come here to go somewhere else, For sure. So one of the things I have going, Dunaway's down the street.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a part owner. We've got, I would say, upscale bar food, not as, fine dining as here, but we do have, it's a bar. We got live music.
Yeah, but you guys did a lot of work. I mean,
Yeah,
it looks great in
the
there.
interior's totally renovated,
Yeah.
and basically all new kitchen, and we, we're kind of going through the winter like everyone else, and figuring out we're doing St. Patrick's Day again this year, so that'll be 14th, 15th, and 17th of March, and we'll have bands and just big blowout there. We did own it last year, and we did St. Patrick's Day and had 3,000 people there over 3 days. So
awesome.
We're looking to improve on that. But yeah, we're open, Monday through Saturday, and that's kind of I'm a part owner with two other people, and yeah, it's been fun being on the ownership side of it. Normally I'm on the architect side of it, so trying to learn some of that stuff.
Yeah, I hear you.
Management side, operating side. So yeah, we're kind of going through it at the same time.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a good thing. All pub out there.
Big shout out to the Dunaway's crew. Last weekend was one of our opening weekends, and everybody knows we don't have our liquor license. I mean, it keeps people away, certainly, but the whole Dunaway's ownership group came out, took the whole back row here, and really, I told Andrew, the super stand-up move of those guys, and I love that about Troy, that when other owners get behind other owners and support one another, it's just a huge show of support and respect, and big shout out to them for doing that.
Absolutely.
And great for you to let him give this other place a shout out. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah, I don't know if I was
But
supposed
that
to.
is,
say that.
that's what it's
just
all
true.
about. Yeah, that's what I'm-
We all want everybody to be
Yeah.
successful. I mean, because when you're successful, they're successful.
For sure.
And it's
City's
just
successful.
a roller
100%.
coaster effect.
Yeah.
Not a roller coaster. What's the word I want?
Domino effect?
Domino effect. Yeah. We want success for
It
everybody.
does feel like a roller coaster sometimes.
Well,
You're
it
correct.
does,
but
yeah.
I had the short rib, and that was fantastic last weekend on the Polenta bed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
It's
that's good.
tender.
Yeah.
It just falls apart.
I don't even know why I picked my knife up. There's no point.
Oh, you do not need the knife
don't
at
need a
all.
knife.
No. I've had that, and I've had the burger now. I don't know which is better. They're both phenomenal. I will say that I think the burger is the hottest item on the menu still. But I think everything that comes out of the kitchen right now is gotten great reviews. People are loving it. It looks delicious.
Mel and Mary Beth, what's your favorite?
Mary Beth had the burger, the Shanghai with the 100% was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you going to be using this for an event space also, like during the day? Have you thought of that, or have you already done that? Maybe I don't even know.
Yeah, we've hosted a couple private events here during the day. An idea was brought to me this week, actually, about doing a lunchtime series, like a speaker series. So have folks come in over the lunch hour and have a local businessman or woman or, insurance or banking or any kind of helpful business speaking engagement on the stage.
Yeah, sign me up for the insurance one. That sounds riveting.
We'll get it more interesting, all right?
So excited.
That's one thing. I have memories from 6 decades ago, at least maybe 7, I'm not sure. Anyway, I think the last time I was here, I saw Old Yeller.
Okay.
So my first walk in here was like, oh, I don't know. I
Yeah.
was pretty sad then. So I'm hoping you never show Old Yeller.
It's not where I thought she was going with that.
I thought you were going to ask for it.
Yeah, I thought you were going to ask for it too. Ooh,
Family's better.
I love it. I love it.
What did you have, Mel?
I had the steak au pois. It was very, very good.
So the steak and the burger.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Mayor, does the city have anything on the horizon that you want to talk about?
Believe it or not, it is, they are gearing up for Strawberry Festival. So the Queen's pageant is just in a few weeks. Vendors are already signing up. We are just rolling right towards the Strawberry Festival big time. I keep seeing things and it's like spring, summer, it's coming. It is, the downhill roll is starting.
Right.
So all of our concerts are planned for Treasure Island. All the Plaza concerts are all lined up. So
And we love those.
Yeah,
We are close
yeah.
by. So if you check out a concert there, you can just roll on in. Or if you're checking out a concert here, you can roll on out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
love
good
it.
stuff. Yeah,
I
all
love
good
it.
stuff.
I love
To
it.
remind people the ticket booth too, and
Get a Dora drink there at the ticket booth.
Oh, 100%. No, I think that was I don't know who incorporated that in the design, but that was a genius idea. And I'm excited to,
I think it was already. I mean, the footprint was already there, and we could all see it. So I think by the time we walked past it enough, we're like, we need to put this ticket booth back.
yeah,
And there's another one of those things just kind of worked out.
I love it. Well, thanks for sharing. Jess, do you have anything?
I don't think so, other than come out for the birthday party next weekend. We're excited to have Troy Main Street here as our guest bartenders to pull that all off. But we'll have cake, a live band, full live band up here on the stage, kind of a party band. Should be really fun. And just keep an eye out on all of our socials and website for all the events we have coming up.
Trivia night is next week with Troy Main Street.
Yes,
And that's here.
get your tickets for that. I think there's definitely some tickets still available. We hope to sell that out. And
It's a new location, so it's a little different format than people are used to previously, but I think this will be a great venue for it.
I'm excited for sure. On my horizons, I guess they're not really horizons. In downtown, the lovely West Milton, Ohio, go Bulldogs.
Yep.
Yep. We opened up a little concept called Rural Desk. It's a small town co-working concept. A lot of people out there asked me if it was a small town office furniture concept. That is not the case. It is it's a if you don't know what co-working means, it's like shared office spaces. So check that out if you're in the area. It's we set it up to be accommodating for the small town life. It's yeah, I think once people get a grasp of what it's for, I think it can help out in different realms for folks.
We have that here in Troy, too,
Oh yeah,
at the corner of Staunton or Stanfield Road.
yes. What?
The yellow two-story house.
Yep. Is that the Stanfield Manor?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, actually,
And it's the same concept for you in West Milton.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, I think it's a concept that's starting to pop up there more and more. You see it more in densely populated areas. I think it just, but that's where everything starts, right? The rural towns get everything last. So we're giving it a shot in rural America.
There are very few co-working spaces that are right next to the town bar.
Oh yeah,
Just throwing it out there.
It's by design.
Closing on deals at the sour mugs.
It's by design, 100%.
No truth or rumors of a door just being opened up between the two, or
Well, we got to throw more steel at it.
Yeah.
We just got to throw more steel at it, and we'll get that door right there. It'll be easy access. 100%. Wouldn't have done it right there if the bar wasn't right next door. No doubt about it. I got another one in Versailles, the Rails of Versailles, a little craft pizza place. We got some awesome tenants. Amber and Ben, shout out Amber and Ben from the Bankhouse Cafe are opening up their second concept in Versailles. We're all excited for them, and they should be opening up, I think, mid to late February. I think that's all I got right now.
From myself personally and from the city of Troy, we just wish you much success. Congratulations on this new concept. We want you to succeed, not just for yourself, for the community. We love what you're doing here, and we're happy to see it continuing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Does anybody else have any finishing thoughts? All right. Well,
thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. You guys were our guinea pigs. We were running around like crazy. Thank you for the folks that showed up to support and to hang out and to give us a little life and a little energy. Greatly appreciate it. Look forward to doing more of these. I think it's kind of fun, you know. Mayor walked in. I told her we were going to be up on the stage and in front of people, and her eyes got real wide. But it wasn't that bad, right?
It was not that bad.
Yeah, it was not that bad. I think it's kind of fun. It's a different.
But I had no clue that it was live on stage.
Well, yeah, because you can't tell people that right away for the first episode, right? You gotta get your first panel up here in the seats. And then have a couple people sprinkle in. You know, people get a little stage fright. So it's all by design, you know. But hey, we made it through it. I think it was a solid first episode. I appreciate you guys showing up.
I'm going to throw out a suggestion for your next, or one of your podcasts.
Okay.
Patrick Titterington.
Ooh, yes.
He
We'll
is
talk
a
about
mystery
science.
to people. He is a mystery to people. People do not know him, understand him. I think you should have him on.
I love it.
Make him human.
I love it. I think it's a great idea. I think that'd be a good episode. All right. Well, thank you all so much. I appreciate it. I don't know where this podcast will get aired out to, but it'll get aired out to somewhere. So if you're listening to this down the line, thanks for listening, and good night.